But if you're saying it got nothing to do with them, I'm going to talk to them and see what they got to say. Right? I can't take everything you say for face value. You already lied to me once. Right?
The events of May 9, 2024, began with a routine dispatch call. Officers were sent to a local bank to investigate a report of fraud in progress. Upon arrival, they found the subject of the call, a young woman in a green striped shirt, standing outside and speaking anxiously on her phone. An officer approached her calmly, informing her that she was being temporarily detained. Her expression shifted from nervous energy to guarded confusion, as the officer instructed her to sit on a nearby bench. The situation was escalating, though the full scope of the issue was not yet clear to her. The officer maintained a professional distance, waiting for backup to arrive before explaining the reason for his presence. The bank had made a call, and she was now at the center of a criminal investigation. Her initial attempts to appear calm were slowly being eroded by the gravity of the unfolding events. As another police unit arrived, the officer proceeded with standard protocol. He informed the woman that for everyone's safety, he would need to place her in handcuffs.
Handcuffs, all right? So just put your hands behind your back. You're not under arrest or anything, okay? Right now, I just have to temporarily detain you. You want to lean forward?
He carefully secured her wrists, reassuring her that this was a temporary measure while they sorted things out. He began asking preliminary questions, trying to establish her identity and reason for being in the area. She claimed to be from out of state, merely visiting Florida. When asked how she arrived at the bank, she stated she had taken an Uber, which had already departed. The woman's story was simple, almost too simple. She attempted to engage the officer in casual conversation, even joking about their respective ages, a nervous attempt to deflect from the seriousness of her predicament. While one officer stayed with the woman, another went inside the bank to get their side of the story. Inside the branch, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. A bank teller recounted the incident to the officer. The woman had entered the bank and attempted to gain access to an account. However, the moment the teller pulled up the account details, the system flashed with multiple fraud warnings. The account was locked down, flagged with alerts indicating previous attempts at identity theft. The note specified that the individual associated with these attempts had used multiple different IDs to open various accounts. To proceed with the transaction that day, the woman had presented a Texas driver's license. The teller explained that accessing the account required a managerial override due to the security alerts. The bank's internal system had done its job, preventing a fraudulent transaction and triggering the call to law enforcement. The evidence was clear. The woman outside wasn't just a simple customer with account issues. She was a person of interest in a series of fraudulent activities. With the information from the bank, the investigation took a critical step forward. The detective handling the case made a phone call to the person whose information was on the Texas driver's license the woman had used.
Okay. And then with that being said, do you want this person to, are you willing to press charges against this person for having an ID with your information on it?
I sure will.
Okay. And you didn't give anyone permission to have your information, right?
He reached a woman named Jessica, the true owner of the identity. The detective explained the situation, that a female in Orlando was using a driver's license with Jessica's name and details to access a bank account, opened back in December 2023. Jessica was shocked. She confirmed that the photo on the ID was not hers, and that she had never given anyone permission to use her personal information. When asked if she was willing to press charges against the person impersonating her, her response was immediate and firm. She absolutely would. This phone call solidified the case against the suspect. She was no longer just detained for questioning, she was now facing serious criminal charges based on the victim's testimony. The woman was subsequently placed in the back of a patrol car. The air of casual deflection she had attempted earlier was gone, replaced by a tense silence. The officer began the formal process, reading the suspect her Miranda rights.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand? You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questions.
He went through each right carefully, ensuring she understood her right to remain silent, and her right to an attorney. With the formalities complete, the interrogation began. The officer asked her to explain what had happened from her perspective. The woman started with a fabricated story. She claimed the account was hers, opened late last year. She explained she came to the bank because she was having trouble logging in online, and wanted to make a small cash deposit of $100. She answered questions about the account's history with vague responses, trying to portray herself as a legitimate, albeit confused, account holder. The detective listened patiently to her story, allowing her to build her own narrative. He then began to carefully dismantle it. He questioned her about the Texas driver's license she presented. She claimed she'd had it for about 2 years. He then presented her with a critical piece of evidence. He revealed that the bank's records showed she had recently attempted to open another, separate account using a different ID, but with the same photograph, her photograph. This was a direct contradiction she could not easily explain away. The officer's tone shifted. He was no longer just gathering facts, he was now directly challenging her story. He asked her if she thought he had been truthful with her up to this point. She admitted she didn't think he had been entirely truthful, sensing that he knew far more than he was letting on. This was the moment the dynamic shifted from a routine inquiry to an intense psychological confrontation. The officer laid his cards on the table. He told her it was time to be truthful, explaining that he deals with fraud cases like this constantly. He revealed that he had already spoken with the real Jessica on the phone before even getting in the car to talk to her. He then delivered another blow. He told her that he was aware of two men waiting for her in a car parked just around the corner, out of her sight. Her story, he explained, might have worked on a bank teller, but law enforcement has access to far more information. He pressed her, explaining that she was the little fish in a much larger operation. The people who orchestrate these schemes are the ones who make the real money when a large fraudulent check is deposited, while she, the one taking all the risk, only gets a small piece of the pie. He offered her a chance, an opportunity to help herself by telling him what was really going on. Faced with the overwhelming evidence and the detective's direct confrontation, the woman's composure finally broke, the lies fell away, and the truth began to emerge.
You're not getting $5,000 just for opening an account. What has to be done before you get the $5,000?
Just this.
Huh?
Just this.
Just open it? And then eventually they'll hit the account for whatever they hit it for, and then they'll break you off the phone.
She confessed that she was being paid to do this. The payment was supposed to be $5,000, delivered in cash after she successfully completed the task. She explained how she got involved. She worked as a dancer in a club, and that's where she met the individuals who recruited her. She only knew the main contact as Jay. She described a transient lifestyle, traveling back and forth between Georgia and Orlando, staying in Airbnbs while she worked in clubs to make money. This wasn't her first attempt for them. A previous attempt to open an account had failed. This one was supposed to be the one that worked. The men waiting in the car were just associates, there to give her a ride, not masterminds of the operation. With her confession, the details of her involvement became clearer. She was a hired hand in a sophisticated identity theft ring. The detective continued to question her, clarifying the payment methods and the names of the banks she had accounts with. He needed to verify every part of her new story. Before leaving to speak with the two men waiting in the car, he gave her one last chance to be completely honest.
They lied to me once. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to talk to them. Are they really not a part of this?
You're not part of this.
Okay. And the only thing that's in the car is just your two debit cards.
Yeah.
He reminded her that she had already lied to him once, and his trust was thin. He needed to know if there was anything else in that car related to the fraud. She insisted her associates were not involved, and that only her personal debit cards were in the vehicle. The detective left to verify her claims, leaving her in the custody of another officer. The investigation concluded. The woman's friends who drove her were questioned and subsequently released, as authorities determined they were not directly involved in the fraud. For the woman, however, the day ended in arrest. She was taken to jail and charged with a list of offenses that reflected the calculated nature of her crime. The charges included fraudulent use of personal identification, unauthorized possession of a fictitious driver's license, fraud by impersonation with intent, and the unlawful possession of 4 or fewer identifications. Her attempt to secure a quick $5,000 payday had unraveled, leaving her to face the full consequences of the law alone.